KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
California headline news. Los Angeles police have arrested 2 known gang members in connection with the stabbing of a pregnant woman during a carjacking. The victim's husband says she is expected to survive.
She's got 10 punctures from stabbing, one of which went all the way to the lungs.
She was driving home when she passed 3 men on the street. One of them approached her vehicle and asked to use her cell phone. She was stabbed multiple times, and the suspects took off in her car. More trouble for Facebook. The Menlo Park-based company says it's fixed a password issue that impacted hundreds of millions of users. Passwords were stored in a readable format within Facebook's internal data storage systems. And a murder investigation is underway on both sides of the border after a body washed up in San Diego County.
Investigators say there are signs of trauma on the 48-year-old man's body. They believe he died in Mexico and his body washed up on the U.S. side of the Tijuana River.
Steve Clausen, California News.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while he and his family were home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a thief stealing packages. Both times, Blink video clips were sent to police to help convict the crooks. Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years. And when you're away, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home and check in on your kids and pets from anywhere using your Blink smartphone app. No contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable. Thanks to Blink, home security just got easier.
Blink systems start at under $80. Visit blinkprotect.com/offer. 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 Blink is an Amazon company and works with Alexa.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. The suspect accused of mailing explosives to several high-profile critics of the president is pleading guilty. Cesar Sayoc of Florida pled guilty today in Manhattan federal court. Sayoc mailed explosive devices to places like CNN's headquarters in Manhattan. America's top Marine is sounding alarms about President Trump's border plan. Kevin Tripp reports.
The LA Times reports that General Robert Neller believes the emergency declaration sending troops to the southwest border poses an unacceptable risk to the Marine Corps combat readiness and solvency. In memos obtained by the Times, the general says he's had to cancel or reduce military exercises and cut back on urgent repairs. So far, no response from the administration.
Russia is marking another milestone with its new hypersonic missile. U.S. intelligence reports indicate nearly 20 of the advanced air-to-ground Dagger missiles were recently moved to a military test site. Brian Shook, NBC News Radio.
Ontario Host Lions Club is hoping you'll come out to their 10th annual We Serve golf tournament. Check-in is 11 a.m. on Thursday, June 20th at Sierra Laverne Country Club. Ontario Lions supports 7 local charities and 8 area projects. Dean Munoz is the golf tournament chair. Give him a call at 909-481-1180. That's 909-481-1180. Come on out and golf at Sierra Laverne Country Club on June 20th to support the Ontario Host Lions. 909-481-1180.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Caravella. Just wanted to let you know that KCAA has a new listener line for all of you that have a phone. Now you can listen to KCAA in the grocery store, in the doctor's office, or when you want to pretend you're on the phone with someone just so that creeper will leave you alone. Call 720-835-3099 today and listen to your favorite KCAA radio shows. That number again, 720-835-3099. KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no caller or listener behind.
Hi everyone, it's Yanitza Munoz from the publications Maxim, FHM, and Sports Illustrated. So being a model, I have to work out a lot. It's tough staying in shape, especially keeping my abs. Until I discovered TC1 Gel. TC1 Gel is a thermogenic gel that you rub on your waist 15 minutes before exercising. Then simply put on the TC1 sweat belt and start your workout. You'll sweat like crazy and feel the burn. It focuses on boosting circulation, increasing perspiration, It activates body heat, reduces muscle fatigue, and burns off more calories. Get your TC1 gel now. Go to tc1gel.com and use the code RADIO30 for 30% off discount on this amazing product. tc1gel.com and get your abs back or just get in shape. Follow their Instagram at TC1gel.
KCAA.
Live from the NBC News radio broadcasting studios of KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 FM and 106.5 FM, located in kind of beautiful, sunny, and kind of rainy California. But hi, everybody. Welcome to the Water Zone. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Starr, along with the famous Mr. Chris Davies, who's here, who's a good friend and a good product manager and a good all-around everything.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Right back at you, man.
Now, do I get a check later or what?
Sure, I got the quarter's already on the table.
Good.
I'll there, buddy. It's shiny and
absolutely. Well, today is Ag Day for our show, and we have our other guest host, Miss Ingy Biscono, who's on the air. Ingy, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon to you guys. Happy Thursday.
Absolutely. Today's a good day. We got lots of good things to talk about. You have a great guest, and we have also Ms. Chris Austin, who's hopefully on air with us. Chris,
hey, good evening, guys.
Hey, excellent.
And Ingy,
the awesome Austin.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too. Yeah. Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
A squared.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're getting lots of wet weather, and we all just love it, don't we?
You're surprised this week.
It's hard to complain.
Yes, I will never, ever, ever complain about rain again.
No, but we do have a question about water, but we'll get into that in a sec. But anyway, Chris Davey, I should call her A squared.
Yeah.
And you just Chris.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, the awesome Austin. Yeah.
I like that.
That's a good Austin. She is the awesome Austin.
We got to get a T-shirt made for her.
A new moniker.
Yes.
Yeah. But it seems like this rainy season here in California, by California standards, is never ending. I mean, it's like, wow. And now what happens if we get, we have March Miracle and we get that awesome April again? So could get a ton of rain.
Yeah. So far, so good. Crossing our fingers, I mean, the big thing now is that we don't get a big heat wave that makes it all come down really fast. And they're, preparing for it in the Central Valley. They're already releasing water out of the reservoirs because they know what's coming. It's kind of interesting. They're kind of getting smarter about figuring out how much water's up there. NASA flies over now with a special airplane, the Airborne Survey, and there's a lot more attention on improving the forecasting so they don't have to let so much water out if there's not a lot up there. But this year there's a lot up there. So what it really means is that we will be arguing about other things than water supply this year. So it's a whole new world of arguments open up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we can move to the next topic of water quality, right? I think that's what's on the agenda.
Well, what gets me is, and everybody who's on the show knows that I'm a big proponent of making sure everybody that's in California, rich, poor, no matter what, legal, illegal, whatever the deal, should be able to have clean water. Yeah. And I know a report came out today about the school systems in California where they got a kind of an average grade. It came up from almost an F and a D, but there's like 80% of the schools have problems with the pipes that have lead in it. Now, now we all know that the governor came out the other day, and we don't know if he's proposing it, for floating the idea, whatever, to charge everybody $10 per home to pay for the cleanup of all the bad water. And like I said, I agree we should have water that's clean to everybody. I mean, that should be first of all above everything. What I'm opposed to is the $10 per household or whatever they're going to charge the people, because they got a whole bunch of surplus money. They got all this money that they do for the pensions. They got all this other slush money stuff. That's where they should take the money. And I've always said, take the top 5. We can't work on 20,000 different projects a year. Take the top 5 and as a government and pick out what the most important ones are and finish those off and then go to the next one. Because if they keep charging people money and these fees and everything, I tell you, I hate to see California in 5 years from now, because there's going to be a lot of people leaving and it's going to be a lot more expensive. And I'm enough of that.
Are you sure enough of that?
Yeah.
So what's this Gavin Newsom $10 per person deal?
Oh, he wants to charge. He's floating. I don't know if he's floating the idea or he's serious. Chris, maybe you know better than I do. I heard both sides. That one's floating it and one's trying to push it. That they want to charge every home owner who has water service $10 a month, $120 a year, to get money to fix all the bad water in Central California or wherever it is in California.
Well, yeah, the governor has definitely signaled that cleaning up the contaminated water in the Central Valley and the other areas is a priority for him, and it all comes down to funding it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of competition for the general fund in the legislature. And if you try to fund something just using the general fund, then you're really dependent on the legislature agreeing to appropriate that money every year. And things come and things go. And so it's really hard to fund anything long-term out of the general fund. And there's been a big push in the recent decades to this idea that government agencies should charge fees for their services, and that should cover it. You shouldn't be charging the taxpayers if you're charging fees.
Right.
And the State Water Board is one of those agencies that the fees that they charge for the programs that they enforce must cover the cost of that entire program.
Right.
There is some appropriation for the State Water Board, but in a lot of situations, they don't have any discretionary funding. So it's really tough. And we, the voters of California, in our brilliant, things that we do with these ballot propositions, and total disclaimer here, I really don't take positions on water issues, but I hate those ballot propositions. I haven't signed one in a decade. I walk by those people in front of the grocery store. I want less things to vote on, not more.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We've done all these things through ballot propositions. We've straitjacketed spending in so many ways that the government doesn't have the ability to just take the money that comes in and look at the needs and apportion it in certain ways, because they've done a really bad job of that in the past. So we, the voters, went in and said, this, that, the other thing. And so it makes this government financing really difficult. So back to the thing. So trying to figure out how to fund sustainably getting clean drinking water to these communities, it's not just a matter of going in and just putting in a water plant to bring the water up to drinkable quality. It's then the operations and maintenance. And
it's the pipes. It's the pipes too. The infrastructure.
Yes,
and
exactly.
That's what's really expensive is all this underground piping that's decrepit, and we've just ignored it over the years, and we need to pay the piper and repair these systems and bring them up to grade.
Yeah,
there's infrastructure, and there's also just in the Central Valley, it's just polluted groundwater. I mean, these communities are on groundwater, and the canals that bring in water to the crops have better quality water than what they go home and comes out of their faucet.
Yeah.
So running those filtering plants, it's not just building the plant, but it's also continuing to keep it running in these, very poor communities. There's not a lot of people to spread the cost about.
Even this week, Chris, just as reported on Maven's Notebook, right? The head of the EPA declared, right, that the water issue, right, the quality unsafe water issue is a bigger issue than climate change. Man, I mean, that's saying something.
Well,
I don't know that I agree with that.
I guess it is in a way.
I agree with not agreeing, but that's what he said.
It is a big issue, but I don't know that anything supersedes climate change at this point.
Well, I would say all of us are well-informed people in the water business, okay? We'll all agree to that, correct? So let me give you my thing. Would you rather have them fix the water with the money that they're using for the train that's going nowhere, or would you rather?
Oh boy, Rob, you're on a roll tonight.
I'm on a roll.
Hey, let's give Chris some kudos for the great work she did in covering both the keynote and the luncheon speaker from the CII conference in the wake of some difficult family situations that you were dealing with, and you really didn't have time to do that. So, Chris, thank you so much for covering those meetings in the wonderful way that you do it. You know, you show the slides, and she records it, and types it, and you can basically read the
thank you. I really enjoyed being there, and I thought those were some great speeches. I also covered the panel of Sigma implementation.
Oh, good, good.
As well. So I actually got a lot of great coverage. I mean, that's why I go to these conferences, to hopefully find some good stuff to cover. So
that's why you're awesome.
Yeah.
And I signaled to the engineer, and Nick, do you have an applause tape? He's looking. He's going to because if the Chris and I here just do it, it doesn't sound very thick. It's just two of us clapping. But I think we may have a soundtrack that we can play later. So,
okay.
No, thank you very much, Chris. Seriously, you do an awesome, truly awesome job.
Way to go, Chris.
And speaking of awesome, our next guest is
now I'm going to have to watch out. I'm going to bang my head on the ceiling. My big head now.
Should we cancel that bronze bust we're getting made for you then?
Hey, Chris, you're going to want to hang on to our next and listen to our next guest. She is also awesome. A company that she's formed down here in San Diego to help reduce food and water waste and hunger all at the same time. So we've got a couple of really awesome ladies on the line tonight. So.
Well, we do have something for awesome Austin. Here we go. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. We appreciate everything y'all do. Okay, enough of that. Let's go back to the show.
That was great.
All right, Chris, I'll start off because I just read in here, we just found out that for the last, this is a long time, 376 consecutive weeks, state of California has been under a drought. And the UNL Drought Monitor just recorded this week that literally just a few small single-digit percentages of the state are even showing a dry condition, let alone drought or extreme drought. So, I mean, that's progress.
Yes, it is. It is, and definitely we've had a great year. But we should also remember, and the people at the main San Gabriel Water Master Basin would want you to remember that the groundwater basins have not recovered. The snowpack is great, and the precipitation is great, but the groundwater basins that have been depleted for many years, still need more. So we're not home free yet, and we always need to remember to conserve. Even now, especially if you're dependent on groundwater, it's great. So let's all enjoy the bounty, but let's not go overboard.
No.
We have to remain diligent.
Right. If you look at the map, that little grayed out area that is that 7%. Guess where? Southern California.
Yeah, but it is great. There's a lot of snow in the mountains, and we've had a lot of rain, and they even had like hail in Long Beach. Yesterday was it?
And Yorba Linda too.
Yep.
Yeah, it came through in Santa Clarita a few weeks ago. I can't remember when, but it's like I actually have pictures of my house where it looks like there's snow on the ground. We're like, wow.
That's cool.
Wacky weather this year.
Yeah, very surprising this past week, and not much rain up down in the valleys, but our mountains getting half a foot of snow just last night.
Yeah, there's more snow in the Sierras headed this weekend. So
yeah, there's something like 600 inches up in the eastern Sierras, up around Mammoth Mountain, for instance.
Right,
so,
I think
but
the last.
Chris, you're absolutely right. The groundwater is our savings account, and we depleted that during the drought, and that hasn't been replenished yet. And we have to remain diligent. We are in a new abnormal, as Governor Brown said. We will always need to be diligent with water going forward. So just because we're getting some rain doesn't mean we can go waste water anymore. We have to continue, it's just a new normal to conserve the water, make every drop count.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We agree.
Yeah. Well, as I said, our next guest, Chris, I think you'll really enjoy as well. She's done some great work to help us reduce food waste, which is also reducing water waste. So yeah, Rob, I'd love to bring her on.
Okay, Chris, are you going to hang around with us?
I think I'm going to have to go and listen to you guys over the internet.
Okay. We'll try to talk normal so you can eat your dinner nicely. We'll do that. So don't forget, anybody who's listening in our big audience or watching, we'll give a little wave to everybody out there who's broadcasting on video. Go to mavensnotebook.com, and if you want to be a subscriber to that, please do so. If you want to donate to that, please do. It's all 501c3, so it's a good organization. We get our great news from her. She's probably the best in the West. And
thank you, guys.
And we love you. Do you want me to play that applause thing again?
Awesome, Austin.
Thank you, Chris.
We'll
Chris.
that.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Good evening, guys.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back with Ingy and her great guests. So stick around for the second half of The Water Zone.
If you knew there was a pipe cement that works better than the one you're currently using, is better for you and the environment, and costs the same or less, would you buy it? Well, no-brainer, right? Weldon, the trusted leader in solvent cements for over 60 years, is pleased to introduce a new line of solvent cements that does all that. Introducing the Eco Series line of solvent cements for PVC piping systems. Not only does it work great and set fast, it also has 30% lower solvent emissions and less smelly fumes, a better workplace environment when you're installing pipes. But don't just take our word for it. EcoSeries products are the only solvent cements that are Green Seal certified for environmental innovation for effective performance, improved working conditions, and for use with potable water. Now available in a medium-bodied fast-setting blue formula, 905 Eco, and a regular-bodied fast-setting clear formula, 900 Eco. Pick up a can today from your local distributor and see, smell, and feel the difference, just like Joe Sweat, president of Sunrise Irrigation, did. He said, after using Weldon's 905 Eco, we immediately noticed the application was smooth and there was noticeably less odor than other blue solvent cements on the market. The guys love it. To learn more about Eco Solvent Cements from Weldon, visit the website at www.weldon.com or call the technical service hotline at 877-477-8327. That's 877-477-8327.
Time to take a water break and talk some water. Irrigation. Such a refreshing topic. As more and more markets face water restrictions, your customers may be hungry, or should I say thirsty, for water-saving products. For new installations, add options like drip irrigation, controllers that respond to weather data, pressure-regulating heads, or heads with check valves. They all provide easy ways to differentiate your bids and win more jobs. Or for an extra stream of revenue, offer existing customers upgrades like high-efficiency nozzles, rotary nozzles, or Wi-Fi-based controllers. Because when you help your customers save water, you make a world of difference for the earth and your bottom line at the same time. We'll drink to that.
Welcome back to the Water Zone, second half, and this is going to be also a good, exciting. I won't put my 2 cents into the things in politics. I shouldn't do that, but I am a paying customer, and I want to get my money's worth for the state. Anyway, so Ingy, we're going to turn it over to you and your wonderful guest to do the introduction. So it's all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Chris, here at the Water Zone Ag podcast, we end up talking about food quite a bit because our agricultural farms use a lot of the state's water.
And Rob likes to eat.
Yeah, in the country's water and the world's water. And, our whole gig is to be more efficient with it, to be as efficient in irrigating as we can, because that's where most of our food comes from irrigated agriculture. And so when food gets wasted, we get a little up in arms because it's really wasting water as well. So, a couple weeks ago, we had a guest by the name of Dana Gunders with Next Course, who, oh my goodness, I think she taught us that 40% of all of our food is thrown away, which is just unconscionable and outrageous. And, she had a lot of great initiatives to help solve that problem. And tonight's guest is closely associated, and I think we'll really enjoy listening to the very innovative and energetic activities that our guest Nita Kermans-Gilson with Produce Good is doing to help take unused food from the farms and not have it wasted and help solve the hunger problem in Southern California. So with a really warm welcome, hi Nita, welcome to the Water Zone.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
Hi, thank you so much, Amy. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here too. And Chris and Rob, I just met Nita a week ago. She presented to the Encinitas Environmental Commission, and I was so impressed with the work that she's doing that I invited her on the show tonight. So, Nita, for our listening audience, I'm just going to give a brief intro. Basically, you and 2 other local San Diego women founded the nonprofit Produce Good just about 5 years ago, I guess, in 2014, to, quote-unquote, to reduce waste and hunger by connecting surplus produce to food insecurity in San Diego County. And to accomplish this work, you've been engaging in the community with harvesting practices on the farms and in orchards and also at farmers markets to benefit those in need. So it's a really, really cool nonprofit that you created. But before we get into the nonprofit, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved in this food space.
Well, it all started when my kids were younger. I lived in just a regular suburban community in San Diego called Carlsbad, and I would get really upset walking around the neighborhood seeing all the fruit on the ground. Everyone in San Diego practically has got a fruit tree or knows somebody has a fruit tree.
Yeah.
But very few people actually use all of their fruit. And so I thought, we should do something about this. And this was almost 20 years ago. But nobody was really that interested. I mean, my kids were in a Girl Scout troop, and I said, hey, we should do a badge for collecting fruit. And everyone was like, no, even the adults. So I just kind of waited. My kids grew up, and I thought, it's still bothering me. So I thought I'd reach out to some places and see if someone was doing something. And I couldn't find anyone. I could not find a group or anyone that was actually doing that, what we call gleaning, which I'm not sure if you are all familiar with that term, but it is an old term from Bible times where farmers would set aside part of their field for the widows and orphans. They would either pick the harvest it, or leave it for them. And it's called gleaning. And we have brought that term into the 21st century. We are picking, harvesting from places that where the fruit mostly would be wasted. And we are taking that to those who need it. So it's a food recovery program that started out as a very low-key kind of grassroots program. Like I said, I started picking fruit in my friends' yards and taking it to the food bank. And that grew into collaborations with the local food banks who would help with their trucks and move the fruit from where we were picking to their organizations, and they would distribute that amongst their feeding agencies.
Wow. So you went from kind of picking fruit from a few local trees that was bothering you to creating like a nonprofit called Produce Good. So tell us how that came about, and then how you connected to all these food banks that actually collect the food and cook it for underprivileged people.
Yeah. So like you said, it was started out grassroots. Literally, me and my friends would get boxes from the grocery store, run to people's yards, pick the fruit, try to get to the food bank before it closed on Saturdays, and they would do whatever they did. And as that grew, people started finding out about it, and then I was able to connect more on the internet. This was, not quite the early days, but early enough where it was hard to find people, but started to find some folks. And I did get a good group of volunteers, maybe 100 or so people. And then I met two women, Geraldine and Alexandra White, a mother-daughter team, who were very keen to also help start this as a nonprofit, a 501c3. And they did all the heavy lifting, the paperwork, and did that 38-page governmental form. And we became Produce Good in 2014. And since then, we have grown at a very steep rate. So it's been an amazing time for us, I think, because people are becoming more aware of food waste, and that has helped us a lot in our cause.
Yeah, so I'm reading on your brochure that you gave us last week, quick facts, February 20th, 2019, to date, we've rescued 355,000 pounds of produce.
Yeah.
Million pounds. Yeah, so tell us how much you've recovered and how many people does this help?
So here's our stats. They're pretty great because we are a nonprofit. We only have 2 full-time staff, 1 half-time. We have about 900 volunteers on our database, so that's fantastic. We could not do it without them. That's how we run our programs. But as far as the numbers go, for example, when we incorporated in 2014, we harvested about 5,000 pounds of excess citrus in San Diego. And as you said, just this last year, we harvested, last year alone, was 145,000 pounds of citrus. And our lifetime total has been over 355,000, which, as the USDA has, the guidelines are that every pound of produce equals 3 servings. So that means that somewhere around Christmas time last year, we reached 1 million servings. So we were pretty excited because, it's like we're small but mighty. Well, tiny staff, but we did a lot.
Well, tiny staff, but what'd you say, 900 volunteers?
Yeah, on our data. Now, again, those are not all like volunteering all the time, but that's what we have in our database.
Yeah, that's great.
We have about 200 dedicated volunteers, which is awesome because we run a lot of programs, and I can tell you about those, but we have a lot of things that are happening every single week. So we need a lot of help, and they have been the engine that drives our program.
And you're basically harvesting, fruit and vegetables that would otherwise just go to waste.
Right. So our statistics, as you said, Ingy, I'm so glad you bring up this idea. I know you guys are all about water, and I love this idea so much because so many people do not realize that when you waste food, you waste water and all the labor and everything else that went into it. And so, as you said, 40% of all food is wasted, which is appalling. And then you have the additional statistic that in San Diego, 1 in 6 people is food insecure, which means they don't know where their next meal is coming from. So you
1
have
in 6. 1 in 6. That's outrageous.
I know. It's ridiculous. And it's like, oh my God. And it's such a solvable problem. We literally have all of this excess and we have this need. So what we do at Produce Good is we are moving it from one point to the other because we really do not have a hunger problem in the U.S. at all. We have an accessibility and transportation problem. Yeah. And so there's, the people who could use the food aren't getting the food. The food is one place falling down, in orchards on the ground or wherever grocery stores are, they're throwing them in their dumpsters, but it's not going to those who could use it and otherwise, not waste it. It's being wasted for absolutely no reason.
Yeah. So you have a couple of programs that you administer. So tell us about those, and then we can really dive into how people can get involved and volunteer as well.
Sure. So we have two main programs. One is Crop Swap, which is the program I've been talking about, the backyard gleaning. That stems from the grassroots program I started in 2010, and that involves, as it sounds like, backyards, or as in San Diego, there's a lot of really big yards. So when we say backyard, it could be like 2 acres, and it could be up to 300 trees.
Yeah.
Because, as you may know, San Diego still retains a big agricultural presence. A lot of people live in places that used to be orchards and groves and commercial things, and they are living amongst groves and groves of primarily citrus trees. And so we go out every Saturday during the citrus season, which is approximately December 15th through August 15th, and we are picking every Saturday morning with our volunteers at different parts of, mostly Northeast County in San Diego, where all the fruit is. We pick between 800 and 8,000 pounds every Saturday. So it's a pretty amazing amount, and we are not even getting the tip of the iceberg. But that is what we do, and that fruit gets transported to the two main food banks in San Diego, which are Feeding San Diego and San Diego Food Bank.
Okay.
And that gets distributed by them to all of their local agencies. So that's our one program, our backyard harvesting, called Crop Swap. Our second program, our second food recovery program, is called Market Share. And in this program, we operate out of 4 farmers markets in San Diego every Sunday of the year. And we collect between 1,500 and 2,000 pounds of produce that they cannot sell that day. And we chose the Sunday market because it is the last day of market, and the vendors and farmers are not going to be able to bring that back 4 days later at their next market. So we collect that, we tabulate that, and then we distribute that immediately that day to various over 25 agencies that we have contracted with, local small food pantries and feeding agencies, and they use that food that very evening.
Wow.
So we are saving that food, and we're the only ones that are doing that in San Diego. That's never been done before. So all of that food that we are collecting from that program is literally food that has never been saved before, that's never been rescued before. So it's pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, so otherwise the farmers at the farmers markets, their unsold produce would just be thrown away. It would be part of Dana Gunder's statistic. Is that correct?
Yeah, and they some of them say, and I'm really happy to hear it, some of them do say that they do take it back and they do use it for either compost or for their animals, but most of them have told us, honestly, that they just toss it. So we know that anecdotally most of them are not. They would waste it. So they're super happy that we are this option that they now have. And they hate waste as much as anybody else. I mean, they put all that blood, sweat, and tears into that harvest, and to see it go in the trash is just probably heartbreaking for them.
Yeah, and it's not like this program is stealing income from them. It's being used with people who wouldn't be able to buy the food anyway. So
exactly. And so some of these people, I mean, the food that we're getting is beautiful stuff, beautiful things from the farmers market that won't last for 3 or 4 more days, but it will be great for those 2 days that we're giving it to these people. And many of them have never seen the level of quality at these places that we have been able to deliver to, and they are so incredibly grateful. I mean, there's one small agency that really, truly is on a shoestring budget, and they get mostly canned and packaged food, and when we started delivering to them, they would write us letters and say, it's like Christmas every Sunday because we get to have fresh fruits and vegetables.
Oh, my goodness.
That's just unbelievable. And for us, it's been so satisfying because we can actually connect with that end person who is actually enjoying the food. And we were able to actually have them all write letters last Christmas to the farmers to thank them for what they were donating. And the farmers, many of them were moved to tears because no one has thanked them for this before ever. And they were just so grateful that this was all being eaten. So it was a really good, very win-win situation.
Oh, that's just amazing. Well, tell us how many people are actually getting meals from this food that you're rescuing?
Oh gosh, the amount of people. I can tell you. I mean, the servings. I can tell you. I guess that would be serving wise. 100. Gosh, you got me off a little off guard there.
Well, I can actually. I can. There's a line item in your brochure. These benefit an estimated 13,000 children, youth, and adults each month.
Thank you, Amy. I somehow don't have that right in front of me, so I have a lot of other numbers, but not that one. But I know that it is a huge number. It is a huge number.
Yeah, I mean that's 13,000 people getting food that didn't before. That's pretty major. So
it's pretty amazing.
So how is your work funded? Who helps with the money side of this?
So we get some private funding. If we get donations from private individuals, we also have some foundational funding through foundational grants. We also have governmental funding. We have received grants both from the County of San Diego, from several districts, and also the state of California, Cal Recycle, which, by the way, has really been applauding our efforts. They really were not aware of how much the act of gleaning has been basically diverting edible food from the landfill. We ourselves, just our small organization, has diverted 167 tons of edible produce from the landfill in the last 8 years.
Yeah, I bet they're very interested in that part. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So they have funded us already. We've already received one grant, $100,000 grant, but we are applying for another one coming up in the next couple of months. We should hear. We have also received an award from the EPA for being a food recovery hero. We definitely were among much larger entities, but because our percentages of what we have recovered over the last 2 years was so incredible that we received this top honor. We were the smallest organization to get this honor.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, very exciting. So we get funding from governmental sources, from jurisdictional. We are also have a contract with the city of Oceanside, and we are working on one with the city of Escondido to actually be doing gleaning services for the county, for each of those cities, because they are very interested now in diversion and zero waste because of the laws that have come down from the state. I'm not sure if your listeners are aware of those, but particularly AB 1826 and SB 1383, both of those have to do with food waste and how it's going to have to be separated from regular waste and the emissions reductions that are coming because organic waste needs to be reduced in the landfill.
So there's actually laws on the books today, or that are coming?
Right now, and from the 2016, 1383, and I think the January of 2016 also was 1826. Both of those were passed, and
so
those are basic. Yeah,
go ahead.
Right. And so those are both, the 1826 specifically has to do with diverting food waste from the stream, from the waste stream. And that's up to every jurisdiction to decide how they're going to do that. But it probably will look like something where they're going to have another bin, on the street, another bin that's going to have to have recycling, you have your green waste, you have your trash, and then you're going to have your food. So because of this, our organization will become, I'm imagining, increasingly more important because otherwise they're going to get fined. People will get fined for this. So they would rather donate than be fined money. So,
yeah.
And that's why the cities are very interested in our program, because we can replicate this in every city, everything in the U.S. if we wanted to. But basically to show them how to do this, at least divert some of this from the landfill and be able to feed your own community at the same time.
So an extra bin, that's interesting. You would wonder why you couldn't put food waste in with the the yard waste, the green waste, and have all the organic stuff together. But
and maybe that's what I actually don't know how it's going to shake out. I think because every jurisdiction is kind of having their own way to do this, maybe they will combine it. It's going to be difficult, and it's going to take a long time. That's for sure. I mean, and they won't be able to enforce it probably for a few more years. They're going after the large generators first, the easy low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, if you will. No pun intended.
But the idea is that eventually this will come down to consumer level, and people will have to be diverting their own food from the landfill.
I would say it's probably institutional, large entities or even restaurants
yes,
first.
Like hotels, hospitals, restaurants, all of those will go first. Yes.
Wow. So are any other cities or counties in the state of California doing this? Or are you the only one?
Absolutely they are. They totally are. I know LA is doing it. They're much larger. There's an organization called Food Forward. They do essentially what we do in LA. I know that there are several organizations, Santa Barbara, Long Beach also do this type of thing. And I know the city of San Francisco, which is also the county, right, city and county, they have some really progressive measures. I think they already are using another bin for the food. I think they already have implemented that. I'm not positive, but San Francisco definitely is leading the way because it's so easy for them because they're a city and a county.
Right.
It's like a one-stop shop.
So tell us how you work with farms. You backyard gardens and smaller farms. Is there a lot of low-hanging fruit, no pun intended, on large farms, or do they?
We have a lot of puns there, Ingy. So here's what we found out. So farms, we thought at first, wow, this is going to be super easy. We just let the farmers know about this great thing, and they're going to come running. That didn't happen. And that's because now we know that farmers, they're very busy people, and they don't have time for anything extra. It's a very difficult work. It's very, very time-consuming. And also, the idea of having people coming on their farm to glean is not really attractive to most farmers. There's a lot of issues, legal things. There's also contamination issues. So what we did find is that when we started working at the farmers market, most of the San Diego farmers and other farmers from Central Valley are there too. Once they found out what we were doing, it took them a while. They're a little bit of a suspicious bunch. Sorry to say, but they took a while to gain their trust. But when they saw what we were doing, they all got on board. So they do almost 90% of all the farmers represented at the 4 biggest markets that we work at in San Diego do donate their excess. And they also, now that they know that we are taking it to the hungry, and they do get a tax deduction at the end of the year because we tabulate every single farmer's donation, we do find that they will call us all midweek frequently, especially during the really heavy harvest time, and say, hey, we got a bumper crop of 500 broccoli and we don't know where to put it. Will you take it? So we've been able to work with them in that way. We haven't been able to get onto farms per se, but we have been able to have relationships with farmers who will already harvest it and then have it ready for us, and we come pick it up.
I'm imagining myself as the cook at a food bank and somebody telling me that I've got a truckload of broccoli coming.
Well, yes, that's another whole thing.
I guess they're very creative. I would imagine that, okay, I got a truckload of oranges and I've got some broccoli coming. What are we going to make with those two things?
There's actually an app. I don't know if you've heard of this app, but where you just type in, I've got an orange, an onion, and some peas. What can I make?
Oh, you're kidding.
No, there is. There's an app that says, here's a recipe. So,
Hey, Rob, did you hear that? I think you're going to like that.
I do.
You like to eat. You like to eat.
Yes. I like
it's
anything.
like whatever's in your fridge.
I like food, period.
Yes, he loves to talk about agriculture because we love to talk about food. Well, how do people get involved? What's your phone number, website?
Well, before that, is she, Nita, are you a good cook?
Am I a good cook?
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? I like to eat also. Well, I was going to say, I do cook. Actually, I can make a really great chicken Kiev and a couple other recipes, but I'm much more of a enthusiastic consumer of food than I am like a cook, honestly.
Well, I tell you what, I know some of the companies that you're picking up food from, like Go Green here in Encinitas, the hydroponic lettuce folks, and I toured their plant. It's a greenhouse a couple of weeks ago, and boy, oh boy, that is beautiful lettuce, just absolutely beautiful. And you said that they, what they can't sell, they give to you, so these people are getting some really high quality produce.
Oh my God! And so we work with several different. We work with small food pantries. We work with small feeding agencies, but also larger feeding agencies that have industrial kitchens. And when they get this, a lot of those chefs and cooks know what this is, and they are just unbelievably impressed because they will look at us and say, "Do you know what this is?" And we'll say, "Well, I think we know what this is." And they're like, "You know what this costs?" They're like, "Yeah, it's pretty expensive stuff." We get some really exotic sort of ingredients, so they are thrilled. And like you said, they have to be pretty creative because, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And you could get a whole, 60 pounds of broccoli or Brussels sprouts, and then you can get, lemongrass and some, passion fruit. Wow, what do you do?
I would do a soup or a sauce with that.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, that sounds good. So what is your website name?
Yes.
Tell people what your website is.
Yes, so if anyone is interested in our mission or what we do, or if you live in the San Diego area and want to come out and pick some citrus or work at a farmer's market for an afternoon, it's super fun. Our website is producegood.org. That's producegood.org. PRODUCEGOOD.org. And you can just email us at info@producegood.org. You can also call us at 760-492-3467.
And on your website, I bet you have that film that you showed us last week of people just having a blast picking citrus on a Saturday morning.
Well, actually, Angie, that's going up April 1. We kind of do quarterly things, but we will definitely have that amazing video. We had a really fun event. And it was videotaped by one of our volunteers, and he did a great job. And it really shows what we do, and it makes the whole concept very kind of understandable. We go out in these fragrant, beautiful orchards. Everybody's having a great time. It smells wonderful, and you're picking fruit. And at the end, you can see what you did, like literally the fruits of your labor are right there in all these big bins. And if you even go on our website, you can see a few pictures of what we do, and it's very visual, and it really gives an idea of how much we do and how it's benefiting the community.
Yeah, and for our listening audience, if anybody is an employee of maybe a company or has a company or part of a larger organization, don't you often host organizational volunteer events? Every organization wants to have like a volunteer day with all their employees. So this would be an ideal way for them to accomplish that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a corporate sort of a gleaning program for for any company that wants to do some team building experience or something with their employees that is different and fun. And really, we have had the feedback we get from everybody is that this is nothing like anything they've ever done before, and they really enjoy it. Especially people who are sitting in front of a computer for all day long.
Yeah,
be out there in the fresh air, picking fruit with their coworkers. It's really amazing, and we do have a suggested donation from those companies, and they are happy to do it. And we have many repeats, and it's been a tremendous success for us to be able to offer that to companies to be able to have some social responsibility.
Well, Nita, thank you so much for what you do. We're just about 2 minutes away from the end of the show, top of the hour here, 6:55. Congratulations on your EPA award and your Cal Recycle grant, and 900 volunteers and 13,000 meals and tons and tons and tons of produce that you're saving water because you're saving food. We thank you very much.
It's so happy making for us, honestly. It just is like a win-win for everybody. And, because we do this and people can see what they do. It's such a rewarding thing, I think, for everybody, you know, building community while raising the awareness about, you know, food waste and about hunger. It's just a really been a very wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So our show will now be on iTunes in a couple of weeks, and so you can use that, Nita. You can link to that and help promote this effort.
It's on a bunch of stuff. It's on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, bunch of
list. Hey, can I ask one more question, quickie?
Absolutely.
Are you going to be doing? I know. I think it was back in September. You did a food rescue capacity building workshop. Was that you?
Did I?
Yeah. No. Nita.
Did Nita do that back in September?
We did. We were in September. We were at the San Diego Food System Alliance. We did do a workshop. We were in I was presenting at a work group there. Were you there?
No, I heard about it. That's why I was asking about. I did not get to go, but I heard about it.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was wonderful because it was really talking about how we work in the community and what exactly it is that we do and how people can get involved.
Cool. Well, we really thank you for coming on. Ingy always has great guests. She knows how to pick them better than we do, so we appreciate that.
Oh, I don't know. You got some pretty good ones too. You got some pretty good ones too, but I thought Nita dovetailed very nicely with Dana Gunders.
Yes.
And again, we're all about doing more with our water, being efficient, whether it's for golf or landscaping or commercial buildings or farms. And this is one way we can be more efficient with our water is by using the food that we produce with our water. So
Absolutely.
I love what Nita's doing.
I can tell you I honestly clean my plate every single night. I leave nothing left.
Good for you. The Clean
That's
Plate
a good
Club.
boy.
I love it.
That's right. All right, well, thanks, Nita. We're going to head off for our
Thank
commercial
you
for our
so
final
much.
things. We appreciate you coming on. Ingy, thank you very much. We do appreciate that as always. You're a great host for the Ag Show.
Oh, well, thank you, and have a wonderful evening and week, and we'll see you next month on the Ag Podcast.
You got it, and we'll be back in just a minute, so we'll take a little break. And Nick is waiting to press the button and it's not working.
You know, I tell you, that wasn't my first introduction to gleaning, right? Because just being in a recent trip to Germany, in Germany, that is a common practice actually in the fields there. It's not quite like scavenging or rummaging or foraging, right? It's even got religious rites, and it's got a whole background to it. It's a great deal. I think we're ready to roll our commercial.
Here we go.
Are you presently part of the irrigation industry as a worker or business owner? Do you want to learn how you and your staff can boost your knowledge and productivity? Then you should check out Irrigator Technical Training School. Irrigator Tech is the leading source of quality instruction serving all facets of the irrigation industry. Their courses provide a basic, easy-to-understand approach that raises the skill level, competency, and professionalism of landscape and irrigation personnel through practical education and services. Irrigator Tech combines classroom and real-life hands-on training, leading to a well-recognized certification that both customers and employers demand. Irrigator Tech's specialized courses can help you quickly become a certified irrigation auditor or a certified installer, repair, maintenance, or backflow technician. Courses also include certificates in smart water application or becoming a certified tree worker. Most importantly, all certifications are state recognized, and Irrigator Tech offers annual renewal classes to help keep your certification up to date. So whether you work in California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, or Arizona, there's an Irrigator Tech class near you. For more information on how to jumpstart your career, call Irrigator Tech toll-free 866-614-1755 or visit them on the web at irrigatortech.com. That's toll-free 866-614-1755 and on the web at irrigatortech.com.
Well, welcome back, and just some final words. Hey, that was a great announcer. We should get him to do more commercials.
You like that?
You did well. You did well. Hey, just for our listeners, don't forget we're going to be kicking off in April a contest for Orange County, and we're starting with Orange County first with the Municipal Water District of Orange County, and it's going to be the Extreme Water Makeover, where you can win a whole new makeover of your front yard with new irrigation equipment, and you can win a washer and dryer for EPA Energy Star and Water Star, a dishwasher, things from Kellogg's Garden Products, and a whole bunch of other things. So stay tuned, because we're going to be doing that in a couple of weeks. And that's really all we got to say for tonight, except we hope you join us next week for a great show.
Training show next week?
Yeah, we have an IA training show with the owner of Irrigator Tech, talking about backflow valves, and that's going to be for the Irrigation Association, where you can get a continuing education units. And anybody who's a DIY person, do it yourself. In case you didn't know what that acronym was, listen, because it tells you a lot of information that you need to know about your stuff. So we're ready to get out of here. So have a good week, and remember the most important thing: think blue.
Good night, everyone.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
California headline news: 2 known gang members have been arrested by Los Angeles police after stabbing up